guys, Fred and Sheila McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum, fredmccoy.com. Sheila's behind the camera.
Hi guys, hope you're having a great evening.
Should be a short video. Once again, just going over something that was sent to us that was on a Facebook page that's incorrect. That's incorrect, or at least we're calling out.
Okay.
You know, you could call this a keeping it real. Keeping it real is where we've heard something, seen something, somebody told us something, we watched something on YouTube or TikTok, and it's either not true or it's questionable, or we're trying to go a different angle and tell you the story, and then maybe somebody can show us proof that what was said actually happened, with proof, not written in the history, spoken in the history, or shown in the history on a video, but actually happened.
Okay.
Johnse Hatfield returning from American Northwest. Johnse came to realize that he couldn't travel long enough or far enough to avoid the McCoy's fury or the greed of recovery agents. They're talking about, or the author is talking about, Johnse Hatfield when he took off out west.
Okay.
After the cabin massacre, and he ran and was hiding out west. He finally decided he wanted to come home. He was lonely. He wanted to come and see his family, and he returned home. Years ago, Coleman A. Hatfield, the son of Cap Hatfield, wrote about the day's events, saying that Johnse and Ock walked along the tracks and had just emerged from a heavy cut, a place where rock from a mountain had been excavated and leveled to make way for the railway, when three men dressed in dark suits carrying lever-action rifles stepped up from the shadows and stopped the two from the upper end of the opening. Simultaneously, three more armed thugs climbed out from a slightly hidden culvert and moved rapidly toward the men from behind, coming from the other end of the line. Now, you know, this, he's saying here years ago, Coleman A. Hatfield, the son of Cap Hatfield, wrote. So this is from Coleman A. Hatfield.
Okay.
Now, he's calling these detectives thugs. Now, Johnse helped beat Sarah McCoy with the butt of his rifle. Johnse helped kill the three McCoy boys at the pawpaw trees. Johnse helped set fire to the cabin at the cabin massacre. Johnse did all that, and there's Kentucky warrants out for him for this. Coleman A. Hatfield says those thugs, three more armed thugs. How about three Kentucky law enforcement detectives? The thug was Johnse Hatfield. But anyway, we'll continue on. But this gives you a clue as to how Coleman A. Hatfield, Coleman C. Hatfield, and how it was one-sided with the Hatfield authors, Elliot Hatfield, whoever you want to name from the Hatfield, West Virginia Hatfield side. I think you're going to find a different version compared to what really happened or what really took place. The group encircled Johnse and Ock and leveled their weapons within inches of the men's foreheads. Johnse and Ock were like two wild creatures caught in a snare, no doubt. No gunshots were fired and few words were spoken. It's one of those thugs that beat the far out of Johnse Hatfield. Just as the posse crossed, now they've loaded Johnse up and they're taking him back across the Tug River to Kentucky.
Okay.
He's on a horseback and they got him tied up. He's not beat up. He's not abused. He's not, they're simply, they have arrested Johnse Hatfield on Kentucky warrants. As the posse crossed with their prized prisoner to the banks of Kentucky, Humphrey Doc Ellis, the local timber business rival, stepped from the shadowy edge of the wood line along the riverbank on the West Virginia side. Ellis, who had organized the posse, had long been envious of Johnse's recent success in the logging business and eagerly awaited any chance to shut down the enterprise. Now, I thought Debunking Hatfield owned that enterprise. I thought Johnse Hatfield was working for his father. So if they get Johnse out of the way, they're going to shut Debunking's enterprise down. Is that right? No, Debunking kept timbering. So now listen to this, how this sounds. Once again, somebody's jealous. Once again, all through life, Perry Klein was sued over property. Randall McCoy was sued over property. Daniel McCoy was sued over property, over timber property. Ellis is mad because he's also in the timber business, but Johnse's doing better than he is, so he's envious. So he's turned Johnse into the detectives. Have you ever thought, guys, that maybe, just maybe, back in that day and time, there was actually law-abiding citizens? That there was actually people that existed on the Kentucky and the West Virginia side that says, ooh, what they done to those McCoys over there was terrible. I see him out here every day. That ain't right. That he killed those people and burnt their houses and beat that old woman. Mm-hmm. It ain't right that he's out here like this. I'm going to tell him where he's at. Have you ever thought that everything's not about jealousy over timber? Maybe the man just wanted justice? Amused at the spectacle of Johnse, strapped down to the horse, been taken to Kentucky, he fired his rifle in rapid succession into the air, crackling heartily. Once in Pike County, transported, obtained a change of venue to Floyd County. Listen to this now. They've just left the timbering place, location, Johnse and Ock. Mm-hmm. They've been jumped. They've got them. They've been trapped. And they load them up on a horse as fast as they could. They tie them up. They take them across the river. And old Doc Ellis, another timber man, he's in the timber business. And Johnse's business is doing better than his, so he's jealous. And he's turned Johnse in. And he's so happy about it that he hoops and hollers and fires his Winchester rifle off several times.
Really?
In rapid succession, fired his rifle in the air, crackling heartily. Really? You've got Debunking, you've got Cap, you've got skunk-haired Tom Wallace, you've got Alex Messer, you've got all these people down there.
Well, it would seem like the people that arrest Johnse and the other man would think that they were being fired upon and would return fire. No,
he was on the same side. He's the one that showed the men, the detectives, where Johnse was going to be walking through at. Okay. He showed them the location. Mm-hmm. He was there, or maybe he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't even there. This is a story that's written by Coleman A. Hatfield.
Okay.
So Doc Ellis, if you'll remember, Doc Ellis is eventually killed by, I think it was Ellis Hatfield.
He was going to be the Grand Marshal in a parade.
Going to be the Grand Marshal in a parade for the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. And Elias killed him as he got off the train or something.
Right.
Guys, they were a murdering, savage, hillbilly bunch. Now that's what they were. T.C. Crawford tagged them right. Let's go on. We're almost done here. Even so, he was soon convicted. Now they had a change of venue to Floyd County from Pike County. But he was convicted of killing Alifair McCoy, the adult daughter of Randall McCoy, and conspiring with the others on the raid at the McCoy cabin in the early morning hours of 1888. Hours? What are you laughing at? My ears is popping like crazy.
You poor thing.
Guys, if I'm talking loud, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
still got an ear
you're
infection.
Okay.
Sally was brutally assaulted with the butt end of a Winchester by Johnse, according to the McCoys, or by Uncle Jim Vance, if you accept the Hatfields account. See, I tell you boys, the Hatfields is in the Marine Corps what we would call individuals. The Hatfields took care of themselves, the West Virginia Hatfields, individuals. Now Coleman A. says that they said that Johnse had took the butt of his Winchester rifle and hit the old woman.
Whew.
But by the Hatfields account, it was Uncle Jim Vance, if you accept the Hatfield's account.
Interesting.
You know, isn't that funny? Because Uncle Jim Vance is the one they blamed for killing Asa Harmon McCoy, but yet it was Devil Anse. Sam McCoy says that Devil Anse and Jim Vance, along with a whole slew of men, came to Martha McCoy's and asked her where Harmon was at. Then they followed her tracks through the snow and killed him, tracked him down and killed him. But then later on in years, they said Devil Anse wasn't there. Well, Martha said he was there. Sam said he was there. They said he was homesick. If you accept their story.
Yeah.
If you accept their story. Well, you can't accept their story because the Hatfields, West Virginia Hatfields, took care of the West Virginia Hatfields until it come to Devil Anse and his family. And Devil Anse said, screw them all. I'm taking care of Devil Anse. I don't care if Johnse goes to prison. I don't care if Jim Vance is killed. I don't care if they hang Ellis and Hatfield. I don't care, as long as they don't get me. Yeah, that's an army of one. Old Devil Anse was. He thought about nobody but himself. Here's the part I'm getting to.
Okay.
Suffer permanent effects from the brain damage caused by cruel beating. That was Sally.
Yeah.
Johnse was sentenced to life in the state penitentiary. In the March 12, 1900 edition of New York Times, the headline read, Hatfield must go to prison. Murder of woman in feud to serve life sentence. Murderer of a woman in the feud is sentenced to life sentence. That's what March 12, 1900 edition of New York Times said. This is a very important case. They've put it in the New York Times that Johnse Hatfield has stood trial. He's found guilty of killing another one of Randall's children, and he's sentenced to life in prison. Very important for New York Times to print that. Miraculously, some say that the time in prison sobered and the Hatfields. Miraculously, according to the writings of Dr. Coleman C. Hatfield, Cap's grandson and family historian. This is a family historian. He sure is. Johnse won parole 6 years into his life sentence by saving the life of Kentucky Lieutenant Governor. According to Coleman C. Hatfield, the Hatfield historian, Johnse was paroled 6 years into his life sentence by saving the life of the Kentucky Lieutenant Governor. Now, what was the Kentucky Lieutenant Governor doing at the prison? First of all. Second of all, Johnse served 13 years of his sentence. 13 years. Pliant and Doc Mayhorn served 14 years. So Johnse got out a few months earlier. The sentence was 14 years is what they were getting for a life sentence. Johnse got 13 years and something. So he served what everybody else was serving. Now he says here he served 6 years into his life sentence by saving the life of Lieutenant Governor. Although author Dean King later said it was a prison warden who was spared when a prisoner jumped him. Well, it was either Lieutenant Governor that he saved, or it was the warden of the prison that Johnse Hatfield saved. Regardless, Johnse saved a life that day when he courageously blocked a violent knife attack and killed the inmate in the scuffle. He wasn't only set free, he just murdered another man and set free miraculously. And regardless of who he saved. Guys, let's go back up top.
Okay.
March 12th, 1900 edition, New York Times. Headlines, Hatfield must go to prison. The murderer of a woman in the feud to serve life. Wow! March the 12th, 1900, it was important enough to put Johnse Hatfield on the front page of the New York Times that he's going to serve life in prison for killing somebody. But yet, Johnse Hatfield, a notorious member of the Hatfield gang, Devil Anse Hatfield's Hillbilly Hatfield gang, has just saved the Lieutenant Governor of Kentucky. Or was it the warden of the prison? Regardless, regardless who he saved, it don't matter. He went free. He killed the guy and he went free. Now guys, that's the stories that they're putting out there.
Wow.
That's the stories that you read. That's the stories that Sheila and I have heard, and family members and people throughout the years. And we just let them go. And we've let them go and go and go. And they build and they build and they build and they add on. I seen today where a guy had sent and said, he told somebody, he said, Devil Ants was a private. In another 100 years, you guys will have them up to a general with no proof. And so forth. And that's the way it goes. You're exactly. Seen a while back where, say, lieutenant, he's a sergeant. He's this. Jim Vance, never served, but he's a sergeant. Guys, where does it end? It don't, unless we end it. It don't unless true historians and true fact finders, people that really, we don't care. I think it's always going to be worse on the Hatfield. I mean, the West Virginia Hatfields, because when they burnt that cabin down and killed 2 more kids, the people just, they lost all sympathy. We've got a fire around here somewhere.
Somewhere, don't we? Yeah, there goes the fire truck.
We are right here on Main Street. Fire department's across the street.
It sounds like it's stopping right out here.
Fire department's across the street. City Hall's behind us. Courthouse is in front of us. And that's going to conclude this video. Guys, ask questions. Ask questions. Ask
That's
questions.
how you learn.
Ask questions. When people tell
fun
you
with it.
stories like this, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. This come from the West Virginia Hatfield historian, they called him. Yeah. All right.
I'm going to show this one thing here. I didn't get to do that earlier.
Oh, Roy.
did I? Yes.
That's a good friend of ours there. He
Hello, sir.
He took one of the first, back when we were selling those little plaques. Him and one of Devil Ance's, or Devil Ance, one of Randall McCoy's great-great-grandsons, and several. We've got several in here. Several people took those. And we appreciate that. Really helped out. So. All right, guys, let me get you.
Hi, guys. Hope you're having a great evening. Please like, subscribe, and share. We'll catch you on the next one.
Guys, Sheila knows as much about this as I do. Sheila doesn't like controversy, and she doesn't like being center of attention. But I offer Sheila to try to get her to be more involved, outspoken and verbal.
Yeah.
And to do your part. You could explain this better than I could if you would. But
I'd rather be behind the scenes.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Thank you, guys.